Hi there. Time for another series in profiles of white people who deserve statues. Don't get upset when they tear down a statue or a plaque. Just look for another hero of the past that's actually worthy of admiration. And today we're going to talk about George Dale, a mighty warrior in the battle against the KKK. George Dale was born in Monticello, Indiana in 1867. His father was a captain. He fought for the Union in the Civil War and eventually was elected to the state legislature. Now, George was a newspaperman for almost all of his life. Eventually, he became the publisher of the Muncie Post-Democrat in Muncie, Indiana. Now, at the time, that was the 1920s, the Klan was stronger and larger in Indiana than pretty much any other state. The KKK controlled everything: the governor's office, the legislature, law enforcement, the fire departments, school boards. And that was particularly true of Muncie. There was more support for the KKK in the Midwest there than in the South in the 1920s. But George Dale hated them. He hated them the way Kendrick hates Drake. He waged an unending war on the KKK. He printed all of their names in the paper. You can see here in this issue from the July of 1924, he's written, C.W. Edgar, gasoline station, burns a lot of juice and hides behind Old Glory. Paul Axeline, electrical contractor, likes all the women. George Dale once wrote, if Jesus were alive today and could get past the immigration officers at Ellis Island and came to Muncie to live, he would be regarded by the Ku Klux Klan as an undesirable alien because he was a Jew. Dale was thrown in jail repeatedly, and it did not stop him. It was said at the time that he was in jail so much that the inmates there would applaud him when he came through the doors. One night, men in hoods burst into his house, tried to shoot him. Instead, he wrestled the gun away and shot and killed one of them. Still didn't stop him. People threw stones at him. They attacked him when he was out walking. Did not stop him. He accused a circuit court judge of belonging to the Klan. That judge sent him to a penal colony to do hard labor twice. Didn't stop him. In fact, it was George Dale's reporting on that judge that led to his impeachment in the state legislature. In 1922, he satirized the Klan's recruitment messages. He wrote, ain't it grand to be a 100% American and wear your wife's nightie and a Mother Goose cap and scalahoot around the country at night? It's getting a hell of a lot for $10. Jine now. Now, after that, he had to flee the state. He fled to Ohio with his wife and 7 children. It was just too dangerous. His entire family was in danger, mortal danger. But in January of 1927, he wrote this letter to the public, and here's an excerpt from it. To the public, for nearly 5 years, my newspaper has voiced its deadly opposition to the wave of intolerance and bigotry which has made the name of Indiana a byword in every section of our republic. While other Indiana newspapers sought the cyclone cellar until the storm passed, mine stood alone in no man's land and faced a tornado of wrath and cruelty that made Cotton Mather of Salem witchcraft fame turn over in his grave with envy. I lost my advertisers, most of my subscribers, my home, my liberty, and every dollar I had in the world. I lost all but a few loyal friends, my devoted family, and all but lost my newspaper. But thank God I retained the pearl of great price, my self-respect. Now that the waves of intolerance are receding, I hope to rehabilitate myself and make my newspaper national. Weekly. By the 1930s, the Klan was all but ousted in Indiana, largely because the leader of the state KKK, a man named D.C. Stevenson, he was the Grand Dragon there, abducted, repeatedly raped, beat a young white school teacher. He bit her all over her body viciously. She eventually died of her wounds, but she lived long enough to file a police report. And the resulting scandal was the final straw that broke the KKK's back there. It's a fascinating but horrifying story, by the way. I'm kind of surprised no one has made a movie out of that monster that was D.C. Stevenson. In any case, at Stevenson's trial, his good old boys of the KKK showed up in force to support him. They filled the chambers. A reporter with the American Mercury magazine wrote that Stevenson looked over and saw a shabby little old man scribbling with a pencil while casting a look that seemed to bore right into his brain. That was George Dale, a man who had become a joke all over the state because alone, broke, and kicked from pillar to post, he dared to fight. In 1929, see, here's the kicker. In 1929, George Dale became the mayor of Muncie. He immediately fired every last police officer there. He basically cleaned house. He also replaced the entire fire department and most of the local government. He served one 4-year term. George Dale died in 1936 at age 69. At the moment when he died of cerebral hemorrhage, he was sitting at his typewriter writing another story. A true hero, George Dale of Muncie, Indiana. Have a great one, and as always, please be kind.